Welcome to the Brand Doctor Podcast, strategies that help entrepreneurs build reputable and profitable brands. Here's your host, Henry Kaminski Jr.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Henry Kaminski here with another Brand Doctor Podcast episode for you guys. Today, I want to talk about a very quick way to help you connect your brand to your target audience. So let's dive in and give you some real practical ways that you can start connecting with your audience that is going to help you resonate and really start to create that know, like, and trust factor inside of your business and inside of the minds of your customers. So one of the biggest things that we do as entrepreneurs is this. We like to complicate things. And so the way I break it down with my clients is very simple. You know, I ask my clients, so when you meet someone for the first time, what is the first thing that you ask them? It's typically one of two questions. It's either your name, hey, what's your name, right? Or it's where are you from? And so I want to actually look at the latter question, because that question is going to be able to help you sort of unpack and unravel more about your business that's going to help you connect with your target audience. So what do I mean by that? Where are you from? So I'm not talking about necessarily geographically where your business is from. I'm actually talking from a different context. I'm talking, where did your business come from? Why did you create it? Why is it so important to you? Where's the passion? What is the passion behind your business? Why would somebody want to do business with you? So when people ask me that question, you know, I always say, if you know the story, you'll get it, right? And then I go in to tell the story. And the story is, you know, one that has many trials and tribulations. You know, I started, right out of college as a registrar at a local hospital. You know, I was just checking people's insurances, right, and making sure that they had insurance before they went in for surgery. And then that transformed into a fundraising event position, right? And then I got into creative by just learning from one of my buddies. And from there, I really dove in deep. And then, you know, I started to really pick it up and the skill set started to really improve. But that's all great. But like, what makes Henry Kaminski tick? That is what people want to know. And people want to know what makes you tick, you know? And so when you dive into that, when you unpack that, that's when people are really going to start to resonate. So, you know, a lot of you guys that may be following me or been following me for a while, you know the backstory. And if you want to know it, you know, you can go to uniquedesignz.net and see it there, or you can go to my YouTube channel and see it there. But, you know, it starts from a very humble beginning. You know, my parents didn't have much money. We were not poor by any means, but my parents struggled, right? And then my parents went through a terrible divorce. You know, I was sexually abused at age of 10. You know, there was all these things that happened to me along the way, and not by my parents, by the way. You know, I don't want to get that confused, you know, but it was a very rocky road. It took my parents 16 years to conceive me as a child. They had so much complications trying to get pregnant, my mom. You know, and then finally my mom gets pregnant and 2 years later, I almost die, right? So these are the stories that have been motivating me my whole life. You know, when I hear my mom tell that story, or used to tell that story when I was a young kid, you know, it made me feel like I was on borrowed time. It made me feel like, you know, I was put here on purpose on this planet. And I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to make an impact. I'm going to do something with my life and make something out of it. And so when people hear that story, then they start to connect, right? They start to say to themselves, oh, this guy, you know, I feel similar, you know, or there's guys out there, gals out there that say, maybe this guy's a lion sack of shit. You know, I'm just keeping it real. And those folks, I'm not going to do business with them ever anyway. So it really doesn't matter. right? And I wouldn't want somebody with that type of negativity and mindset in my life anyway. So it doesn't matter. So for those people that are going to hate, let them hate. It's none of my business and it's not my problem. It's theirs. So those are the things that I want you to start to understand, and I want you to start to program your mind when it comes to telling your story. Yes, there's going to be people that are going to hear your story and it's going to put them off. You know what? You just did them a favor. They're out of your life forever. And those people aren't going to want to, you're not going to want to do business with those people anyway. So be gone, right? And so, but here's the thing. When you share your creation story, which if you haven't read that book yet, Primal Branding, they go into deep detail about your creation story and how to create it, right? And when you start to develop that creation story and start to tell it over and over and over again to your audience, they're going to start to really pick up on why you exist, why your business is even on this planet, and why it serves the audience that it serves. And when you can develop that story and start to articulate it and really have it start connecting with your audience, that's when everything is going to change. And so that's why I want you to understand that telling your story is the easiest and quickest way to connect with your audience. And so let me tell you right now, do not complicate this process. Somebody asked me the other day, well, how long should the story be? However long it takes for you to tell it, and tell it in a way that's going to be able to just articulate it in a simplistic fashion so people will be easily able to digest it. That's it. So if it takes you 10 minutes, it takes you 10 minutes. If it takes you 5 minutes, it takes you 5 minutes. I got my story wrapped up and edited into about a 11-minute video, as we did all the editing and stuff, but it's a half an hour conversation. So, through the beauty of editing, we can chop that down into 9 minutes and, beyond my way, for media purposes. But when you ask somebody if somebody asks you, well, what's your story? Where are you from? Where'd you get this business to begin with? That's going to open up a whole bag of thought, connection, resonance. I talk about resonance a lot. Like if you're not putting out a story, if you're not putting out content that's actually getting people excited to talk about you, or if you're not putting out content that's actually resonating with people. And when I ask you, when people ask, well, what kind of content is that? It's content that speaks to a pain point, a challenge, a place where people are interested in learning more information. And let me tell you something. If you could provide a solution for them, now you even got their attention even more. But I want you to take this message today and start thinking about what your creation story is, the creation of your business and brand. How did it form? Why did you create it? What does it do? Right? When I was a little kid, some of you guys might have heard this story already, but when I was a little kid and my parents were going through a divorce, I was in fourth grade, and I had like a little mental breakdown. I don't know how old you are at the time, maybe 10, 11 years old at fourth grade. I don't know. And I remember just breaking down, and that teacher stopping the class and helping me through that emotional tragedy that happened that day in my life. And I remember by the end of the class, I was in the back of the class in the coat room or in the coat area. And one by one, my fellow students were coming up to me and asking me very personal questions, or wanting to get personal questions answered to help them go through divorce, go through the pains that they were going through as a fourth grader. It was like I was Dr. Phil in the back of the room. And it was so funny because at the end of that day, I felt so empowered and I felt so grateful and so blessed that I was able to help other classmates through whatever emotional, trials they were going through after they heard my story, and it was that day I said, I'm here to make a difference. I'm going to make a difference in people's lives. Somehow, some way, I'm in fourth grade, so I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. But as I matured and grew and became an adult, it's funny, right? Like I say to myself, I would have had no idea that I would have got my master's degree in business administration and got my degree in communications and my undergrad in communications. And I would have never thought in 1,000 years that I'd become a graphic designer and then 10 years later have this branding agency. If you would have told me that that was the way this was going to roll out, I would have laughed at you. But now I look back and I go, there's no coincidence here. There is no coincidence why Unique Designz is what it is, why the brand doctor is doing these podcasts every day, why I get so much joy out of helping entrepreneurs find the guidance and find the blind spots that they go through day in and day out when it comes to building their business, and just help them get by faster, easier, smarter. And so that's my journey, and that's what is going to, I have no intentions of slowing down. I have no intentions of giving up or quitting or trying something else. That's not in the cards. This is what I am here to do, and I will do it until the day that I die. And that's it. And so that's the story. That's the creation story. So where did all this come from? That's what I want to know from you. And that's what your audience wants to know from you. Why did you create this business in the first place? So I'm going to stop because I sound like a broken record at this point. But the quickest way and the easiest way you can connect with your audience is to start telling your story and start crafting that story in a way. I mean, let me tell you something. The more you tell that story, the easier it's going to be to tell, and the quicker and the more refined it's going to be. And that is going to help your audience connect with you. And once they start connecting with you and you give them a reason to listen to you over and over and over again, that's when you start to build the know, the like, and the trustability of your brand. And when you can do that, then the sales will come. I can promise you. I can tell you right now, there's other designers out there that blow me away. But why do they use me? Why? Because they like me, they know me, they trust me, and they connect with me on some deeper level. And that's the story. So that's it, my friends. I hope you get some value out of this. I hope that you will start to tell a story that is going to resonate and connect with your target audience, and do not be afraid to put people off. That's what you want to do with your story. You want to separate the people that you want to work with and the people that you want to repel, and own it, love it, and tell yourself that it is a blessing that you are drawing this line in the sand, because it's going to help you not alleviate tremendous headache in the future by working with clients that you should not be working with. And if you have an abundance mindset, you will understand that for every client that you do not land or is not a good fit for you, there are 3 more ready to work with you. So just understand that and know that, and you will be okay. So there you have it, guys. Another episode in the books, and just get out there and start telling your story. That's it. So real quick before I leave, if you haven't shared this podcast with a friend or a colleague, I would invite you to do so. And I thank you in advance for doing that. Without you guys listening day in and day out, this podcast would not exist. If you haven't written a quick little review on iTunes, I ask you to do that. And just, I'm looking for the feedback. If I can get better content to you, more valuable content to you, drop it in the review. And you guys know me by now. I will execute and apply everything that you suggest if it makes sense, and I will bring it. So if there's any comments, any suggestion, any topics of conversation that you want me to address, I will address them on future episodes. I will find special guests that are experts in that field. I will bring them on the show, and I will try to deliver as much value as I possibly can, because it's about you guys. It's about you guys. Yes, this job has been a financial blessing in my life, but I realize that it's not about the money. It's about helping you guys. It's about making sure that you guys are all right, and that my clients are taken care of, and that they have the way blueprinted out and just dialed in, because I know that the money will come, and that's just a byproduct of great service, great experience, and caring. So have an awesome day, guys, and I'll catch you on the next episode.
You've been listening to the Brand Doctor Podcast with Henry Kaminski Jr. To get your appointment with the doctor, visit Brand Audit at www.uniquedesignz.net.